I'm Spencer.
And I'm Eric.
And this is The Itch.
Yeah!
Woo! Probably too loud for the mic. Anyway, we have a great show today. We got some news for you.
As always.
As always, that's going to be our thing. We've got the games that came out this week, which is an interesting list, to say the least. It's different. I think this might be a first.
I purposely have not looked at this list, and I was told I was not allowed to look at this list. So my reactions will be fresh.
Very fresh.
Yep.
Fresh
And
as daisies.
fresh and so clean, clean.
Ooh, Jay-Z.
Yeah.
I don't know who does
I don't either. I thought it was like Nelly or something.
Could be.
Anyway.
Sorry, Nelly. And then we're going to have a little courtroom debacle maybe, about Nintendo.
Fuck nuts. Sorry.
He's clearly not a fan of them, and
No.
I happen to think they're doing great.
Delusions.
So let's get started. We got some exciting news today, and being the professional that I am, I have it all listed here on my cell phone, on my cellular telephone.
Your cellular telephone, the brick, you're going to pull that out?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, guys, call in.
Calling off cars. We need to. I have some news to read off of the telephone. Let's go. Here we go. The first one, and a lot of these are going to be, I think, just to get it started, the news is actually, a lot of it has to do with the real world, like how these things can actually affect the world we live in as well. So
okay.
it's like news and beyond.
Oh, like our new broadcasting desk?
Whoa, look at this.
News. You stay classy.
Thank you, Ron Burgundy. So the first one we have is, this is a report from EA Games. None of us are huge fans, and it's the games that we don't really care about, called FIFA and UFC. Why do I care about these games? There was a system error on the Xbox One, and these demos, the demos for these games, were listed as $4.99. And it's created an uproar.
Did it actually charge $4.99?
I'm sure some people bought it. Those people are apparently sports fans, and apparently
Maybe they're just deal fans. They're fans of deals.
fans of deals. Well, they got a score
Oh, what?
because it's FIFA,
Oh.
or goal.
Oh. Okay.
But anyway, so basically the whole problem is, does this mean that it might come to a point where companies are going to sell demos for games?
Oh, I actually do believe that that's a thing.
I say it's definitely a thing. Look no further than Metal Gear Solid Ground Zero.
Yeah?
Have you heard of that?
No.
They released Metal Gear Solid 5, which is the new game that's coming out, which I'm super happy and excited for. Only problem is they released Ground Zeroes, which is an hour-long version of the game, and they released it for, I believe, $40 when it came out. Now it should be $30.
30.
But it's literally an hour long. This game is a pure demo.
I have a dog stopping me from moving my mic stand.
Oh.
He's laying on it. Anyways, yeah, so 30 and it's a demo.
It's a demo.
Ah.
Now, I think this is horrible. I hate the way that that's turning out. I can't argue with economics, so if it's working, then...
Oh, I'm going to argue economics all day long.
No, I mean, if a company releases something and people buy it...
Well, true.
But
But
I wouldn't buy it myself.
no,
Absolutely not.
No, me neither. But the reason I think it's actually going to be a thing is because of Sony's rent system thing, where it's you rent it for an hour for $2.99, 5 hours is $4.99. I have a feeling that if they're going to use that as their demo system,
Oh, that's a good point.
they'll no longer offer demos, but you'll be able to rent it for an hour. So
Okay.
That's where I think that's going.
That's interesting. I didn't think of that. Yeah, that could be.
That's what I'm here for.
So there's that. Next thing isn't a huge news topic, but Evolve went in to sign up for the alpha,
Oh,
and I'm in for it.
okay. You are?
Yeah.
When are you supposed to hear?
Actually, I think I put it in for today, and I think it ends today. So hopefully I get in, and hopefully they're like, yeah, you're the best.
He gets his key, he gets signed in, and then it's over. We get like 15 minutes.
Oh no, I'm sorry. The end. I don't know when it's supposed to end, but the sign-ups ended today.
Oh,
sorry, that's what I
signups.
meant.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
Okay. So, and just to remind everyone here, Evolve was the game that you played as like the monster, and then you had 4 people hunting him, and then the monster would kill things, and it would grow and gain different powers. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would sign up for the beta for that.
I am balls to the wall excited for that. My balls are literally stapled onto the wall.
From the window.
You're doing too many dance clubs for me, buddy.
I'm sorry, man. It's been a party weekend.
I want to say that the most talked about game this week for me that I've heard about is Shovel Knight. Have you heard of this game?
Nope.
It's a huge, well, I say huge, but it's actually an indie game that just came out that's meant to emulate the classic NES style games.
Okay.
But it's crazy and it's got tons of fanfare to it and everyone's talking about it, so definitely play it. It's a side scroller type of NES game, so if you get a chance, play it. I haven't played it myself, but everyone's telling me it's great, so
awesome.
It's huge right now. Project Cars is a Namco Bandai game, and the only reason that I care about it, because I wouldn't play it, the only reason I care about it is because it is one of the first games to take advantage of the Oculus Rift headset.
Oh.
Virtual reality racing is in our near future.
That would be awesome. I have no interest in racing games, but I do have an interest in this whole VR thing. The reason being I had no interest up until this point, up until I saw this show. Sword Art Online. Have you ever seen it?
No, I've never seen that before.
It's on Netflix. It's an anime. And it's a virtual reality helmet that you put on over your head. You lay down in your bed, and you play an MMO. Like, you're full on in the world. And it's an anime, Sword Art Online.
Interesting.
It's pretty cool.
Is that like dot hack type of show?
Yeah, actually, it definitely... It's a little different. Dot hack, I didn't really... Unless you watched... I don't know. I didn't really care for dot hack is what I'm trying to get at. But the Sword Art, I think it's like 20 episodes or something. They have 2 seasons, but the first one is really all you need to watch. The second one is just a rehash of it all.
Oh, okay.
So it's just they end up playing a different game in the second one. But the first one, definitely worth the watch.
All right.
But that's why I'm interested in the whole VR helmet thing, because watching this MMO, like the way they were playing it and stuff, so much fun. Like, it looked so cool.
I just can't wait to see a bunch of warriors that are like 12-year-old nerds. And they're like swinging their sword around, and I don't know. I think that'd be funny. I don't know how it all works, but I think
Warrior,
come out to play. The next one, I told you there's gonna be some Blizzard news on here.
okay.
All right.
The reason that's a big deal for me is because I have another podcast.
What's that?
It's called Just Another WoW Show. You can find us YouTube, Twitch. Twitch, you can find us, it's _Jaws, and you can email us at justanotherwowshow.com or at gmail.com, and just search for it on YouTube and you can find it, or even search in Google and we're the only thing that pops up.
Really?
Yep.
Good,
So
good. And maybe you guys could talk about some of these interesting tidbits.
Okay.
Because there's some big news coming out of Blizzard this week. Rob Pardo, he's the executive producer for World of Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
He left.
Later, Robbie.
Yeah.
Miss ya.
They didn't say why, but he said, and they don't even know if he right now, apparently he has no plans of going anywhere.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of done.
Yeah, he's done. He's going to spend some time with his family. The best of you I wish you the best, Rob Pardo. I haven't really played in a while. He definitely has played.
Yeah.
But he came about a long time ago.
It was like 17 years?
Yeah, he's got a long history. He was with WoW the whole time, so you've been with one of the biggest games in the world.
Yeah.
It's quite the resume.
Groundbreaking, man.
Blizzard also came in here as a very negative piece of news regarding their game Hearthstone. I guess they're having tournaments of it now.
Mm-hmm.
This is just ridiculous. News has come out that they actually intended to bar females from competing in the tournament.
Really? Well,
To turn it into, and I'm going to use air quotes again, a legitimate sport. Is their wording for it?
Women to prevent
Because like in NBA, you don't have women's playing, right? So that was their reasoning for not letting women compete. Since then, they obviously the social outcry has forced them to reverse that decision.
Oh God, yeah.
But why?
Yeah, why would that? I'm okay. And just because I have a show called Just Another WoW Show does not mean that I fully support everything Blizzard has to say. There's lots of stuff I don't like that Blizzard does. They make a great game, but I mean stuff like this, obviously, that's some backward ass stuff or ass backward things.
The word itself was backward when you said it. It is yeah. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Why do that? That's like Chick-fil-A coming out and saying we don't really like gay people. Like, why? Why come out as a corporation and just make yourself look like an asshole?
Yeah. I mean, all that is just limiting your consumer.
Yeah. Man, I don't get that move. But obviously they overturned it, so I guess we can give them a pat on the back for it or something.
No. It's just kind of a stern look like, yeah, you should have been doing that. Glad you made the right decision, son.
Yeah. I hear you. That's a weird one. Speaking of weird, Lindsay Lohan sues Rockstar over a character in Grand Theft Auto 5 named Lacey Jonas, who apparently imitates her.
She does a lot of cocaine and hookering.
I guess. I haven't played that game enough to know that character, but there's very blatant references to her personal life in it. And I don't see how she can win this because it's satire.
Okay, one thing that I don't think she's going to learn from this show. If she's watching right now, I don't think that this is actually going to hit home.
She's that one.
I don't think that she's going to figure this out. But you're not special. You're not a little butterfly. You're not a little special snowflake. There's so many things and people in this world that things have happened to. You're not the first person to experience these things. I'm sorry, honey. Just move on.
Stern words. Oh boy, even I got the shivers from that one. Yeah, it's interesting. She's suing it. It's an actress whose career is going down the drain versus a rock star who just released like the highest grossing game like of all time. I don't. I mean,
know,
it seems like quite a dig.
Did she actually play the game? Is that how she found out?
Oh, I doubt it.
I doubt she found out. I bet you someone else said, you know what? Hey, we can get you some money because this is very similar to you. Let's make you some money.
Where do we get in this country where lawyers are like, were they mean to you? Well, let's sue them.
Yeah.
Like there's not even law anymore. It's just, were they mean?
Yeah. Were you bullied? We're going to have an anti-bullying session because you don't know how to cope. Dude, I got made fun of. I got picked on. I got bullied all my life. You know what I did?
Dealt with it.
Yeah.
Made you the person you are today.
Exactly. I'm a man. I'm a man that plays Pokemon.
There's no other kind of man, clearly. Yeah. But I thought that was really interesting. I'm curious to see where that goes. I hope that goes nowhere. It has to.
It's just going to be one of those things where people just get in an uproar and what is that thing? There's no such thing as negative publicity. I mean, it's putting her in the limelight. It's the whole thing with God, who was just in the news and everyone's freaking out.
There's always somebody.
I was going to say I could pretty much name any actor and it would be true right now.
Yeah, they were in the news for doing something crazy, and then a week later, everyone kind of whatever.
Yeah, I can't think of the exact person's name that I'm thinking of, but it was a chick, and she did something. Like, I think she went to the club and was dancing, and that was like it. And I was like, oh, like, who is she hooking up with? She's a slut. Like, I'm sorry. Like, what?
You know what the funniest one of those I ever read?
She got mad about it, too. I was like, what do you care?
It's like, how dare you?
Yeah.
I remember a long time ago. Do you remember Ava Longoria?
Yes.
Apparently, she was at a Target, and that made national headlines.
Really?
Yeah, they said, is Ava Longoria not doing as well as we thought? Because she's at Target. Can you believe that?
So, Lindsay Lohan, shut your tramp mouth and just let us play video games.
Yeah, calm down.
Yeah.
All right, the next up is Dragon Age Origins is slated to have a gay mage named Dorian.
Wow.
This makes me think two things, and they're both polar opposites.
Okay.
So let me elaborate on that. I'm glad that finally they're embracing that, not embracing, but allowing the culture to be integrated into media. I think that's great. I think it shows some steps forward that we can just have a character who's not crazy, who's not like offensive, who's just like he's a character and he's gay.
He's not Big Gay Al.
You're right.
South Park.
Super. Thanks for asking. I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
What I'm not happy about is that this made headlines.
Yeah. Well, it's like the whole Green Lantern thing.
Oh, of him
Like-
not being like being black. Or what was that? What was the Green Lantern thing?
They recently, God, it was like 8 months ago or something like that. They released that they were gonna have It was one of the original Green Lanterns, and they were not making him, but he was gay. Like,
Oh,
in the
really?
story, they wrote that he was gay in it. Like, one of the first scenes is him kissing his boyfriend or something like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just like a kiss on the cheek. It was like a full-on like make-out session. And I have mixed feelings on that as well. One, cool, great. I don't see a reason why there shouldn't be gay superheroes or whatever. I don't think your sexuality, your preferences, or lifestyle, whatever you want to call it, should keep you from saving the world. Like, I'm pretty sure that the odds are, with
Hey,
how
they
many
keep good-
superheroes we have,
Gay people take good care of their bodies.
yeah,
So,
they do.
They're more fit than we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. But the part that bugged me was that in no other superhero story does it make it as blatant, like that their sexual orientation. Like,
yeah.
The fact that like they had to start off with like, like
Yeah, no other
totally
comic
make
I've ever read is just well, besides,
what kind?
besides the kind that start with an H. But but yeah, no other one that I've ever read is like, let's start off with Wolverine making out with Jean Grey for like 5 panels.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's always that connection, but you can always spin that off like when pretty much anytime you see a male and female in a story and they are like talking to each other or they care for each other, it's automatically assumed that they're in love. See two guys talking together, you don't assume that they're in love, you just assume that they're bros. I get why they had to, because they had to make it apparent. I just didn't. I didn't. It feels to me like they're doing it for more of a shock factor,
That's exactly
rather than just telling a story, which is a lot like The Orange is the New Black or whatever that show. The Black is the New Orange. No,
Orange is the
the
New Black. I've seen every episode of that, by the way.
I don't understand why that show is interesting whatsoever, besides the fact that there's two girls making out every now and then. Like, that's the... But I'm sorry, there's 30-second clips that I can go watch, like, just spamming those to see all that.
Well, on that, I don't want to spin off too much of the original topic, but you know Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead. It's an ensemble cast type of thing. It's like it's a soap. They're all soap operas. They really are.
Any drama you watch is a soap opera.
And these are ensemble casts of a bunch of people, and they make them intermingle and do whatever. And this is the one for women. That's really what it is. It's just a soap. It's like those other shows, but it's just for chicks.
But it's just amazing to me, like the
hype it's getting.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the same thing with, like, Game of Thrones. Like, I understand that it's a great show, and they pump so much. Like, I remember my ex-fiance's parents were so adamant about how Rome was this great show and how just all these shows they were watching, like True Blood and all these things, were great because they had all these sexy scenes. And I'm like,
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry, it's just filth to me.
Yeah. It's that's exactly what it is.
It's not content. It's not driving the story at all. It's porn, softcore porn.
And yeah, it's softcore, so it's not as good as porn, and the content itself isn't as good as a real show. So it's so disappointing when that kind of stuff happens.
Question.
Eric, go ahead.
Would you like to continue with the subject or go back to your list?
We can continue. I don't care. Or we can go back to the list if you're done.
I was asking you, man. You're the host, man.
Gotcha. No, I mean, I think it's a very important time that this is happening. But again, there's a double-edged sword to this, which is I really don't like the idea of somebody waving their flag because their game is coming out and saying, "We have it. We're moving forward."
Yeah, we have a gay guy in our game, so come play our game because we're progressive.
How classy would it be if they didn't announce it? People got the game not knowing it was in it, saw the character, and then became like, okay, this is kind of a standard now.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how many people actually caught on. Like, if they just started playing the game, and then the Dorian, the mage, showed up, did his thing, and then left. And then that was it.
Yeah.
And then, but if you actually paid attention and you really like watched the story, or you saw him later on, he's sitting there at the bar or whatever, and he's talking to another guy and he's holding his hand or whatever.
Yeah.
Then you could be like, oh, wow, okay, I didn't realize that before.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that most of the time you can't tell.
Yeah.
You meet people all the time and you can't tell because they're just like everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing that bugs me so much, is that it's just people.
Yeah.
It's
a label, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely something to look out for. Hopefully games can do it without screaming about it.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know.
I look forward to that day.
Absolutely. The next one is also kind of a hot topic. Uber Entertainment has plans, and I don't know if they've already done it, or I saw a box for it. They're releasing their game Planetary Annihilation, which is in beta, but they're releasing it to the retail stores for sale.
They're selling a beta
Yeah.
in retail.
Which, to their defense, they're doing online already.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, a couple things. This sets a dangerous precedence, first of all, to companies that if this is a success, if people buy it, we could see more companies selling unfinished games to people in the public, that's all bad. But the next part of it is, I don't think everyone kind of knows that kind of stuff yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like for an example, how many moms do you think when expansion packs first came out, like the first Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness, remember that?
Mm-hmm.
How many moms do you think bought the Tides of Darkness thinking it had Warcraft 2 in it?
I'm sorry, guys. I know my mom did. For sure.
I know I did that for some other game.
Yeah.
Now, this being a new concept to people, a mom sees that in the store and just buys it saying, oh, it's a cool game.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't know. So Planetary Annihilation says, we got 2 million people buying our game before it even came out, and it's all people that had no idea it was in beta, what a beta is.
Yeah. That's the other thing, too. What beta and alpha are, when you talk to just a normal person, when you say, oh, yeah, it's beta. Oh, okay, well, that means that it's not as good. Because beta, if you're looking at what is that? Latin? No.
Beta, alpha,
yeah, like that whole thing.
Okay.
What is that? Greek?
Zeta? I think it's Greek or Roman.
Know.
Greek or who knows?
Who cares? Anyway, so that whole language.
It is Sumerian.
Yeah. Go ahead, correct us. See what happens. But like that whole thing is beta is, if you're talking the whole dog thing, betas are not as strong as alphas. So if they see an alpha go on sale, they'll be like, oh yeah, alpha. But like it's the terminology we use in the computer world. This is why I think this should stay out of the stores, because the Joe Schmo sees a game that says something beta, like, I don't know, World of Warcraft beta. Oh, that's just the title of the game. I'm just going to purchase that World of Warcraft beta.
Mm-hmm.
They'll go pick that up and they'll go home and play it, and they're like, why does it crash every 5 minutes? Why is this unstable? Why isn't this working?
Yeah.
Why did I pay money for a product that's shit? Oh, I'm not going to buy their games ever again. And that's the average consumer, and the average consumer is a vast majority of video game sales. Like the hardcore gamers, the people that are, to me, if they're coming on to YouTube to watch a show like what we're putting on right now, you're not an average gamer. I would say you're above average at minimum, that you're actually looking for information out there.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, average to me is, I go to the store and I buy the new Call of Duty when it comes out, and They will find out about a game as they walk through the store.
Yeah.
Or as they're shopping on Amazon and be like, oh, hey, this game came out like 4 months ago. If you know the release date of video games, you're not the average consumer. So for the average consumer, the terms beta and alpha and all that stuff on these packages, one, will either not mean shit to them, or two, they think they'll understand what it means, but they won't.
Yeah.
And you'll end up losing actual sales of the game.
Yeah, I think it's a bad idea. I mean, but hopefully GameStop, because they're the ones that are going to sell it, probably Walmart or something. Hopefully they're like, hold on, you're not selling a finished game. This is bad. But
Yeah.
you never know, man.
Well, honestly, GameStop's going to do whatever they have to do to make some kind of money right now. That's I'm just being honest right now because they're not doing that well.
Yeah. Yeah, good. I hate that company so much.
Why?
They don't give much, if any, kickback to the original developers of the game.
Because they're all used.
Because they're all used. And
Yeah.
they make so much money off of those used games. Mm-hmm. And they give nothing back. They're like, oh, well, it's our product now.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they get the new games. And I don't know if they still do this, but they used to do this. Have you ever bought a new game there?
Mm-hmm.
Did they pull it out of a disc carrier and then put it into the box? Because they used to do that with PS2 games.
Oh.
And it drove me crazy. So it's like, what's the difference between this and a used game?
Yeah.
Well, this one originally had the packaging in it until I opened it and put the disc in the box.
Yeah, I never experienced that.
Oh my God. It drove me insane.
I can imagine them doing that.
Positive news. You ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
This one's everyone kind of knows, but it's just more positive news. The Reading Rainbow Kickstarter is incredibly successful and has broken $5 million. This is pretty impressive.
I'm sorry. Reading Rainbow Kickstarter?
Yeah, remember Reading Rainbow? LeVar Burton?
I think I do.
Take a look. It's in a book. Reading Rainbow. Reading Rainbow. That's a falsetto, guys. Only I can hit it.
Thank you for showing up, guys. Good day.
Remember that show though? They'd read a book for you on their show and everything. Oh, it was for kids. I mean, obviously it's a kids thing, but they started a Kickstarter to start the show again and put it online for kids to watch. To promote reading and everything. And they were incredibly successful. They broke 1 million like that. And LeVar Burton was very thankful. Had like a tearful thank you to the public for it.
Is Reading Rainbow like a video game or something?
They're making it into I don't know if it's a video game, but it's going to be pretty interactive. They're putting it on the Xbox One and the PS4. Hopefully the Wii U. I don't see why they wouldn't.
Because they suck.
LeVar Burton's like, I love everybody. Not the Wii U. We're not putting it there. He's just very picky.
He's like, you know what? I had this conversation. I had this lunch meeting with this guy named Eric. And he was like, you know what? Nintendo sucks. And I was like, yeah, it totally makes sense.
Eric just twiddles his fingers from ivory tower. but yeah, it was a huge success. It's within the top 5 Kickstarter programs available. And they're all getting together and doing projects within each other, which is really interesting. So props to you guys. I love the idea that they're trying to get kids to read. That's fantastic. So, little positive news there. Warlords of Draenor has finally entered beta officially.
See,
everyone's excited for it, I'm sure, right?
I would love it if I had access. What's up, Celestialon? How you doing?
Get this guy access. We can talk about your game.
Yeah. Right now, I'm like third party getting access to your game. I'm watching all these Twitch streams and YouTube streams of all this stuff, and I'm like, I keep messaging them like, test this for me, test this, and they're like ignoring my comments because they have like 5,000 going through.
Oh, jeez.
So I mean, I have a lot of things I want to see and test and do things. So come on, please.
You got to get this guy on there. He needs it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last news story is kind of rumor and speculation type of deal, but Bungie's Destiny. Recently, their creator, I can't remember the name, but he said that the game was their $500 million bet,
What?
which a lot of people speculated meant that the game cost $500 million to make and advertise. Which, hearing from everything, that doesn't sound too far off. But he has gone on record saying it's nowhere near that, and he hasn't. He said something weird though. He said, "I haven't talked to the advertising department yet, but it couldn't be anywhere near $500 million." $500 million to make one game is.
Yeah, that should not exist.
Grand Theft Auto 5 didn't cost that much to make.
Yeah,
and that
$500 million game. I better my disc better be made out of gold.
Yeah, better.
I mean,
granted,
like
Zelda.
Granted, I'm only spending $60 on it, but.
Well, that leads me to think that $60 cap is going to change, which they talked about it. Remember?
They have been pushing that because of places like GameStop, where the publisher doesn't get anything back, so they have to raise the price for the few that they actually do sell straight to you.
See,
and that's why pre-orders and pre-sales, or whatever you want to call them, are a big deal, because then it guarantees that you will purchase a new copy and not wait for a used copy to come through.
Right. As great as GameStop is at giving you a used game, it really does hurt the industry.
It really does.
Substantially.
And I'll tell you a story about that after this show.
Oh, okay. I got you. So that's it for the news portion of the game, or of the itch, I should say.
Yep.
Let's move on to the games that have come out this week. We've got an interesting catalog here. Some things you probably didn't expect, especially considering the console that I think is doing the best for the week. For PS4, we have a huge game coming out. A little game. It's an indie title that kind of squeaked through. It's got kind of a grassroots following. It's called Call of Duty Ghosts, and it's Invasion is what they're calling it. So I'm sure that is a real winner. Sniper Elite 3 just came out as well. That one, actually, I was at a Best Buy earlier and somebody was buying it.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's, according to Metacritic, it's not that impressive.
Oh. Womp womp.
But hopefully he enjoys it. I'm sure it's... I think what I saw had pretty good physics, for what it's worth.
Math.
It had good maths. Far Cry compilation is coming out for the Xbox 360. Actually, I almost bought that for the PS3 just because I heard Far Cry 3 was really good. I'm not a huge first-person shooter fan, so I just said, nah, maybe not. But could be good.
Okay.
PC has some love, but nothing too spectacular. The Wii U has kind of an embarrassing one, so I'm not even going to touch it.
Say it.
Unless you like Poker Dice Solitaire Future.
Thank you, Nintendo.
Well, come on, they can't be all winners. Mario Kart 8 just came out. There's Zakisa.
Mario Kart 8.
Hey, that game. We'll get into that later, but I wouldn't push your nose up to that right now. Zakisa's Last Stand. Something like that. And then Guacamelee is actually getting love on a lot of consoles right now. So that's kind of exciting for them because I heard that was just a fantastic game. Maybe one day I'll play it. But the console that I think is doing incredibly interesting things this week is the PS Vita.
Ooh.
Yeah. And this first one, I think you're going to like it, especially if you saw our last episode. Because the Ratchet and Clank trilogy came out for the PS Vita.
What?
Okay.
Yeah. Now I am definitely gonna be buying a Vita now. No doubts. Purchased today. Where's my phone? Amazon.com.
Yep, Ratchet and Clank, the trilogy just came out. Up Your Arsenal, Going Commando, and one other one, maybe just the normal Ratchet and Clank. I'm not sure. But yeah, that one just came out, so that should be exciting. And also, that's not the only game that just came out for it, but Child of Light.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's officially released for the PS Vita now.
Nice.
So that's an RPG that's a side scroller, supposed to be very beautiful. And I've wanted to play it, but I heard some mixed reviews on it, but most people were actually really positive about it. So give that one a shot for sure.
Yeah, I'm actually it's a pretty cool what is it, turn-based RPG?
Turn-based RPG apparently uses something very similar to the Grandia system for the combat. And it's also, but it's a side scroller. in terms of exploration. So yeah. So that's the wrap up of games that came out this week. Now,
Wait. I have one thing that I want to say about those of you who have Netflix and are interested in indie games. There is a documentary about on there called, I think it's just indie video games or indie games. It is actually a pretty cool and interesting look into the creators' lives of these indie games. They have on there, what was it called? Fez, the guy who created Fez. They did a whole background documentary with him.
Frequency something? Is that the music-ish one?
No, it was a little white pixel guy with a little Fez hat.
I was way off. What am I thinking? Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also the creators of Super Meat Boy.
Oh, that was actually really good.
Yeah, it was on there as well. And they were, I'm not going to ruin
the movie.
ruin the whole documentary. But they, it goes through the ups and downs and the struggles that they go through being indie gamers. The disrespect they receive from the major corporations because they don't have any professional fronting. It's a pretty interesting go through. I think it's like an hour and 20 minutes or something like that. They also go through this other guy. He goes over, I think it's called Braid.
Yeah.
They go over him as well. They go over his game and his start of his next game and stuff. And it's pretty cool. It was nice to see because it's I've thought about and started creating multiple games over the years, not to the level that these guys are doing it at, using like RPG Maker and stuff like that. And I'll get so far and then I'll lose interest because I'm just making it for fun. I'm not making it for any profit or anything.
Yeah.
So, going into my next part. Sorry, I know we're going to talk about Nintendo, so I'm just getting sleepy.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, we got a little bit of a grudge match right now.
Ding, ding.
In this corner, of course, right over here.
Oi! Oi! Nintendo Smash!
He doesn't. He has some issues with Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to think Nintendo's doing great. I don't think they're perfect, and I might agree with him on some things, but I will debate him about his hatred for this company. And apparently it's only within a couple of years that he's really picked it up, maybe in just 1 year or something.
Yeah, and just this last year, in 2014, collectively, hi Ruby, collectively, she knows that I'm not happy right now, so she's trying to make me feel better. Collectively,
don't be so
all
mad.
the little things that that Nintendo has done has kind of just put me at that point where I can't back them anymore. The straw that broke the camel's back was their YouTube freakout and Twitch freakout. Do you know about that?
I've been informed about it. Go ahead and explain it.
So what happened was, or what's going on right now, is that you can go onto YouTube and you can go onto twitch.tv where you'll watch live streams or pre-recorded videos of people doing these things called Let's Plays or Flash Plays or any kind of gameplay footage where they're reviewing the game or sharing their experience of playing the game. Basically, it comes down... It's caused me to purchase a couple games. Because of that, I purchased Titanfall. I purchased Assassin's Creed's Black Flag. I've purchased... I think... What was the other one? I've purchased like 4 or 5 games, and 3 of them I didn't actually enjoy. Like, once I started playing it by myself, I didn't enjoy it. But because I watched somebody else having so much fun with it, I was like, man, they're having so much fun. I want to have fun too. So I went and purchased the game, and then I just didn't like it. Nintendo, what they did, she's licking the crap out of my hand right now. I'm trying to keep her away from licking the mic stand. I have a boxer. That's all they do is lick. So what happened was Nintendo said, you know what? You guys are gaining profit because YouTubers and Twitch players, they do make some money. It's not a lot. It's like per some odd thousands of views, they get like pennies, and it accumulates out and stuff. So it's really hard to get paid on these things. So there's very few people who are actually making profit, and it's coming down to pennies that they're making. Nintendo said, you know what? We own all rights to our video games. Yeah, you do. And you guys are gaining money off of it. Yeah, a little bit. We want a percent of that. They have issued a statement stating that they will tax anyone who is playing any of their video games online, and they're making money off them. They're taxing them now. And they call it something else, but what it comes down to is if you play, and they have the rights to, because it is their video game that you're making some profit off of. It is within their rights. I'm not going to argue that. But it is a shitty thing to do when you have PC games, PC, PS, PlayStation, and Microsoft all not giving a shit. All of them say, you know what, this is free advertisement. If you have 100 people watching this, that'll come out to, I don't know, $10 for you, and we'll take 20% of that. We get $2 for those 100 people. So we get these $2 out of this, but you made one of those people purchase the game because you had so much fun with it. Well, now that $60 that they paid, that's a new game that goes to the publishers and everything. We're going to end up with, I don't know, $30. So if one person decides they want to play that game, your advertisement is basically, it's free, and you got to purchase out of it. All the other gaming industries understand that. All the other systems understand that it's free advertisement, and it's such a fraction, especially when you're, what is it? Is Nintendo a million or $1 billion company?
Oh, billion.
$1 billion company?
Yeah.
They're a $1 billion company, and you guys are causing this shit over pennies, like dollars, like per user. You're getting so little out of this, and people are just raging on you guys because you're now taxing them to advertise their video games. If they love your product so much, and they feel like, you know what, I'm going to make an entire channel about Pokemon, and all I'm going to do is play Pokemon, and people are going to tune in and watch. Oh, now Nintendo wants 20% of this? Well, tell you what, I'm going to go play Digimon and play the crap out of that, and people are going to watch that and buy that game instead of Pokemon now, because I can get paid just as much playing Digimon as Pokemon. So that it's going to push people away. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for me, because in my mind, I'm like, what the hell is Nintendo doing? Why cause this Hufflepuff? I don't know. Can't think of a word right now.
Hufflepuff is a class of students in Harry Potter, Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry.
Oh, okay. Anyway, just causing this, I don't know, I don't want to use Hufflepuff again, but causing this, just...
Hullabaloo.
Yeah, there we go, Hullabaloo. I can't say it. They're causing all this shit. They're bringing up all this dust, and they're kicking all this stuff around because they want a couple extra dollars. And I understand it's within their rights. I'm not arguing that. I'm arguing whether they should or should not cause such a commotion about a couple dollars when it's the way the industry is going. It's how advertising is going now. You go to YouTube when you want to watch a gameplay footage. You don't go to Nintendo's website and type in the video game and find it and check out their...
you'll just get a commercial.
Yeah. You go to YouTube or to Twitch and watch somebody play it.
Yeah. Well, and I definitely don't agree with Nintendo on this one. This one goes to you. But I will say, I don't think they're doing it because they want the money. I think it's literally a deterrent so people don't play the games online or show the gameplay footage online. I think it's specifically a deterrent.
Why do you think they would want that?
That's such a tough call. The thing that I can think of that is really scathing against Nintendo would be that some of the games that have come out for the system, especially in the big break of because they didn't have a lot of really good games for a while there. And I would assume that they were like, we don't want people to see these games being played. So we're going to put a tax on it. You know? So it's like, if you want to show it, then you have to give us some of the profit, which everyone's going to be like, hell no, I'll play any other console's games and just get all the money for myself.
So
Also, considering this, they didn't actually have a good, like a first-party game that really wowed anybody for a while. And I'm sure not a lot of people were streaming it anyway. So it's a possibility to me that they said, well, let's just put a tax on it and then say, well, you know, the reason people don't stream our videos is that there's taxes involved. So I think
conspiracy.
I think
Cover
there
up.
right. I think there could be side reasons because I don't think they need the money for the pennies that they would get for these videos.
You know, it's funny. I was hoping that you would say your first part.
Yeah.
That they make such shitty games, they don't want people to be able to review
The
them.
Wii U library is at the moment pretty embarrassing.
Yeah.
Pretty embarrassing.
They don't want people to see these shitty games, so that they're taxing people to review them. Basically, if you want to make a review for them, they're gonna say, you know what? Hey, stop it. They don't want people to see these cruddy games, so they basically make them tax. They tax you because they're like, well, if they actually show people this game and what it's actually like, no one's gonna buy it. So we should make some profit off of it somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, the last year has not been kind in the games department, and it shows in the sales as well.
Which brings me to my second point of why Nintendo blows ass.
Okay.
Their video games, their developers, their catalog of video games. All of that, everything dealing with the quality of games they come out with and the variety of games they come out with. I want to know when Mario is finally going to get to retire. Like, at this point, I think he's hoping for his retirement day because he has made so many games. What are we on, Mario Party 10? Or is it 9? I'm sorry, I get confused.
I don't remember that.
Mario Party 9 or 10, Mario Kart 8. What are we on? The 10th, 11th Mario Super World kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The third Paper Mario. I can't imagine. Like, they've not even reinvented. They've rehashed Mario for at least what you want. Can we say like 50 games?
Oh,
50 games?
easily.
Yeah.
More than that probably on one console.
I'm gonna be nice and say that there is 50 different Mario games, and we'll put like a little like asterisk saying maybe plus 50.
Maybe plus 100.
I have enjoyed multiple Mario video games, but at this point, I know Mario Kart 8 is doing really well right now, and I'll let you say the number that I know that you're waiting to spit out.
You're gonna win on that.
I know Mario Kart 8 is doing great, but all it really is a map pack. They upped the graphics, not much since the Nintendo 64. The Wii, I mean...
since Nintendo 64? It looks really good.
The Wii U does.
Yeah.
But I'm saying from up until now, like, it's been the same graphics.
Pretty much, yeah. Same
Like,
concept.
Yeah. So they made Mario Kart Racing, or what is it, Mario Kart.
Mm-hmm.
They're up to 8 now.
Mm-hmm.
I think I started playing on the GameCube at Mario Kart 4.
Double Dash, that was a
5.
good one.
Yeah, something like that. I had so much fun with that game. I bought a Wii U. They came out with the Mario Kart whatever for that one. I didn't buy it. Because I had a Mario Kart game that did the same thing. Only difference was now is I had the motion control thing. And it was clunky. It didn't feel like actually racing. It felt like I was just, I don't know, milking a cow. Like, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. So I don't see a point in purchasing a Mario Kart 8 when I have a Mario Kart 4 that has the same thing, same turtle shell that does the homing thing, same lightning that minimizes everybody, same bananas you throw on the ground. It's just different maps, different races. And they do that with all of their stuff. I mean, you have Mario, you have Zelda. I think this Zelda coming out will be the first one that I'm actually like, oh, high five, guys. Thanks for actually progressing your system, like your game, actually.
Yeah.
But up until now, they haven't done anything like that. Like, they haven't changed anything. How many... I know a lot of games are a lot of systems right now are recreating their old stuff, like Final Fantasy X HD, or what's that other one? Kingdom Hearts. They did a rehash of that.
Yeah.
I know that happens.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it's not reasonable for games to give some of their older popular games a touch-up, but you don't need to do it every year for the same Zelda, Mario, Luigi, Bowser, Princess Peach.
Yeah.
Trying to think of, what are their other characters?
There's
Star Fox.
Star Fox. He doesn't really show up too often. Well, here's my counter to that.
Okay.
I don't have a Wii. Never had one.
Mm-hmm.
Never actually had a GameCube, to be honest. I went to my friend's and played his, and I actually did have one, but this was like PS3 era. Like I just had one lying around. Haven't bought a Wii U yet.
Okay.
So this talk is coming from somebody that I just laid out. I haven't really supported Nintendo's consoles in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
For the longest time, I had the viewpoint that these games were not for me. These games were motion controls, and you had to buy the peripherals with the bats or whatever.
All gimmick and no gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. Then you look at the games for these. I mean, yeah, there's some good games. The Mario games are usually at least decent quality, but most of them are like track and field. That's all I can think of when I think of the Wii is Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. Why?
You're recent.
I don't like any of the games for it. I don't like Cats with a Z. I don't like Barbie's Playpen.
What about Dogs with a Z?
Dogs with a Z I'm okay with. Just play it and you'll understand. But I don't like any of these games. I do like some of them. I love the Zelda games that they come out with. I think they're absolutely fantastic. Their first party games are very strong. Pikmin. I really want to play Pikmin 3. But
at a certain point, you have to stop making those kind of games, though. Like when it was because like Pikmin 2 started losing me. Like I loved Pikmin 1, played that all the time. Pikmin 2, you started making it really gimmicky again. Like it just.
But
Go
here's
ahead.
here's the deal.
I don't want to hijack this.
No, it's worth noting. But here's the deal: is if you look at the text on games, look at when you play a game on the PlayStation 4, the when there's text in the game, it's small, it's normal looking. When you play a game on the Wii or the 3DS, which I'm very happy with, but when you play a game on those, the text is bold and bright.
And comic font.
In comic font, yeah. And big. And the words are simple.
And bubbly.
And keywords are highlighted in colors.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at is these consoles are designed for kids. As much as, it sucks because I grew up with Nintendo. You grew up a little bit with Nintendo. Mm-hmm. And it says, like, well, this is supposed to be my console.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? It's actually not. It's for the kids. Now, we can get an Xbox One or we can get a PS4 or whatever we got to do. But when I'm playing my PS3, because I don't have a PS4 yet, I want to get one, but one that comes out with a lot of games. But anyway, I play the PS3. Now, I can't tell you the number of times that my girlfriend's daughter, who's 6 years old, has said, "Can we plug in the Wii so I can play tennis?" Now, I have no desire to play tennis.
Yeah.
I have no desire to play golf. I have no desire to play bowling. Any of it is stupid to me. But the fact that a young girl or a kid wants to play video games that they can understand is fantastic. I think that's absolutely great. And if you really think about the time that you were a kid when you played games, like you said it yourself, you played the first game, RTS, not RTS, tactics
Shining
game,
Force.
Shining Force, because your uncle played it.
Mm-hmm.
Now that could have been, I can't tell you the number of games that I always wanted as a kid that were Scooby-Doo and a Star Wars game and Jurassic Park. I remember wanting that game for some reason. My parents got me Mario All-Stars and I threw a fit. That's how stupid of a kid I was. But anyway, now I don't care that Jurassic Park runs at 20 FPS at the time or has high resolution graphics or was developed by this guy who worked on this game that I loved. I care that it was Jurassic Park and that it was bright and it gave me what I wanted as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So in closing to this part of the argument, I think we have our PS4s and we have our Xbox Ones and we have our PCs. And then for the kid that is in our life, and if not in our life, then it doesn't really matter. But if there's a kid in your life, then they have the Nintendo Wii that they can play with you. You know what I'm saying? So for that, I think the Nintendo is absolutely fantastic. And it's not a console for me, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with losing it as my console.
Yeah. So basically, the quality of games, my point was the quality of games that they produce are not up to par with being my console because I have matured through it and I have grown up to enjoy more complex video games and requirements for the system itself. And your point is that Nintendo has always been for the kids and it will always be made for kids. I can agree with that, but the end result is neither of us are playing the system because of that.
On a side note, I will be playing as soon as Smash Bros. Comes out.
Yeah,
I'm obsessed with that. I love it.
Yeah, and I understand people wanting that kind of brawler game, but I will have to say, enjoy your 8-polygon Miis.
That's so stupid. I think that's the stupidest part. They're like, you can play as your me, and I'm like, I'll just keep playing as Ness.
Yeah,
I don't want to play as me.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, I'm wearing a Ness shirt.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Whoop, whoop.
Support Nintendo.
Yeah. So that's my argument for that.
Yeah. My next argument being kind of, I think, is covered by what we just spoke about, was the graphic potential and the just the output the system can do. It comes back to, because the system actually it is beefy enough to produce their own video games. One of my complaints, it comes down to when we're talking about games that they have and games that they can make, they rely so much on their mascot characters that they need to start pushing money into, I don't know, you don't even need to like fully redesign the system and re-advertise it, but for the parents that purchase the system because they have kids or because it's the only system their wife let them purchase because she can play with you because it's multiplayer. Like, I don't know. But they need to, for those adults that purchase the system or teenagers that have the system because their sister won it, they need to put some money into developing adult games. They need to make, and I'm not saying like a Zelda version of Skyrim, they need to make Skyrim. They need to make a style of game that it is mature audience only kind of thing. They need to.
I agree.
They need to throw Resident Evil on there. They need to throw And I'm not, when I say these games, I'm just saying games like them that are like their first party, like they made these games, or they paid a publisher to make these games, or developers to make the game. That they actually said, this is a Nintendo only video game. We're going to put the money into it. We're going to get, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a Halo, like a Call of Duty, because right now the only game on their systems that makes me turn my head is Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
That is the only game that makes me turn my head, and it's because it's made by the people who made Shining Force, and because it's a fantastic game. Like, it turned my head because I was like, oh, hey, Shining Force creators are making a game. What is that? Oh, it's Fire Emblem. What system is it on? Game Boy Advance. All right. Gonna pull out my Game Boy Advance and go get this game and play it. Loved it. I picked up the every version of it, and also the GameCube one. I played the Wii one and the 3DS one. I think those are all of them. All the systems they covered with that.
Hopefully that 3DS one, by the way, just takes it off the charts because it needs to be bigger than it is.
Yeah,
that series.
It does. Now I don't want them to come to the console anymore. I don't think, like, maybe with the Wii U touchpad it might be kind of cool, but it's gimmicky. And I need Nintendo to stop relying on your gimmicks, all of your weird things that you guys come up with, and your accessories and hardware that does these weird things, unless it's 3D GTFO. I mean, your 3DS was great. It was a cool concept. It was a great idea. But stop shoving it down my throat, because it started giving me a headache after a little while using it for too long.
Actually play with it off for the most part.
That's pretty much what I started doing. That you need to start making things with content rather than gimmicks or like hardware requirements. I mean, 360, they had the Kinect. They forced that down our throats. Guess what? They now offer an Xbox One without the Kinect because we rejected it. We took it to a certain point, but then you need to stop and give us something else besides the hardware. So stop relying on your Wii Motion and start making games. Because that's from the E3 last year and this year. What was the number one thing we said, or they said, like the whole conference as a whole, is just games.
Yeah.
That's what we want to hear. We have these beefy systems. We have this hardware that can do something. But if you don't give it anything to do, it's wasted potential. It's wasted money that you could have made the system cheaper, because if you're just going to recreate Mario Super World, whatever, where you just side-scroll.
I've lost track of Mario games that have come out on the Wii U.
If you're just going to recreate side-scrollers, then just beef up a Nintendo 64. Put a little more RAM in there, and then a little faster processor, $150, you have a system.
Yeah. Like, they're relying very, very heavily on nostalgia right now.
Mm-hmm. That's actually a good way to summarize it.
I don't want to sound like a oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'll wait and say my thing for last.
All right. I don't want to sound like a wishful dumb fanboy, but it's looking pretty bright games wise coming forward. And I also want to reiterate that Nintendo has a habit of not doing well at the beginning of things. And granted, the Wii U is not beginning. I think they came out like 2012, 2011 or something like that.
No, not 2011.
2012?
It might have been 12.
2012, I think. And their games library has been very paltry.
Christmas 2012, I think. It was like November 2012, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And it's been admittedly very, very paltry, very bare bones.
Mm-hmm.
But they have a history of that. The Wii came out, and everyone was like, oh, my God, you can go bowling on it. And everyone picked one up because the news told you to.
When did the Wii ever explode?
Oh, the Wii was a huge success. The Wii is the #1 console of its generation in terms of units sold.
Right. But
not with me, but with the
exactly.
world.
I understand that like grandparents loved it because it helped them with their arthritis. I get that. But
bless your hearts, grandparents. And again, I mean,
it created engagement with the little kids and all that stuff. I get that. But when we're talking about quality of, like, I want to talk about games. I don't want to talk about the system itself and all that, because shit, PlayStation 4 sold a frick ton of consoles.
I was going to get to that number.
But they haven't created any games on it. So I want to talk about, like, the quality of games that were on it, because I mean, I had a Wii. You know what I used it for?
Cup holder?
Netflix.
Like, that's what my girlfriend used it for.
I used it for that, and also you could the Nintendo store. I purchased Shining Force on it. I played Shining Force.
Sega.
I mean, really, I didn't really do much with it, so it became a streaming device to me. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't actually putting a CD in there and doing anything with it. I was just loading up the streaming thing, which brings me back to why I'm in love with the PlayStation TV that's coming out, because it will allow me to download all these games that I want to play. I won't have to pop in a CD. I can't pop in a CD, but I don't think I'll ever need to, because everything that I want is just a quality video game, which unfortunately these generations of systems we have, we're putting so much into the hardware of them and not enough in the development of video games, which I do think comes back to GameStop, how we were talking about.
Yeah.
The developers are not getting enough kickback, and because they're not getting enough kickback, they don't get enough money. If they don't get enough money, that means the game has to be shorter.
And a sequel.
Yeah, because they're building off the same engine that they previously had.
Yeah.
If they don't get the budget to allow the man hours to create a long game, if you end up with a short game, that means that your next game has to come out that much sooner, which means that you have that little amount of time to produce that game. And it comes full circle down to it. I mean, I swear, and maybe you can help me out here, but I swear that when I had my PS1, I remember going to the store and purchasing a brand new video game for $19.99. Like, out of the case, brand new, just came out. I swear.
Greatest hits, I think.
No.
You're sure it wasn't?
I'm more than positive. My parents tell me I'm crazy. Everyone tells me I'm crazy, but I remember, like, Twisted Metal 2 coming out.
I think they were 40 or 50.
I know they weren't 50, because I remember seeing a $50 PS2 game and having a goddamn heart attack. I think at most it could be 40, but I could have sworn that there were brand new video games that I was purchasing for $20. And I think near the end of the console I was paying like 30 or 40. But like when it first came out, it was so cheap. But due to the fact that they're not selling new copies and it's all used, which is why I'm all for digital sales.
Absolutely. Steam has done it perfectly. Just copy Steam all the way.
Yeah. So, and to end this whole thing, to say goodbye to everyone here, I want everyone to take note of how angry and all the jabs I was taking at Nintendo this entire time. But if you listen to my voice now, it's depressing. I'm disappointed more than angry after saying all these things out loud, because it's things that they more than a handful of times could have prevented or could have swayed in a different direction, and unfortunately they kept driving it this direction, and the whole market went this direction where the console and what the console could do is more important than what the actual games were. But Nintendo has suffered the most from it because they had the smallest video game collection, the game catalog, leading into this. Because PS2 was the #1 game catalog system, and 360 followed it up, like being like the second largest catalog of video games. So Nintendo, I have sympathy for your souls.
And I will say that just real quickly that I can agree that the game console and the games for it are probably not for us. I think we can both agree to that. But from a business standpoint, I think they're in the right direction. Probably could have done a few things differently, be less crazy stubborn. But I get what they're doing, and I think it's going to be successful. What do you?
I don't think it will in the long run.
Hmm?
I think the problem being is that we're going to be switching to a lot of indie games, a lot of the younger generation right now, with Minecraft and all those low pixel things, and how accessible all these Steam makes all these video games and stuff. I really think PC is going to thrive, and also streaming video game systems. The Android, Google created a Android. They're working on one right now as well, but there's also aftermarket ones right now you can purchase. They're making, I think it's called like Google TV or Chrome TV or something. It's a standalone computer. It's a standalone tablet without a screen. You plug it into your TV, boom, screen, control it with your phone or tablet, and you can Bluetooth in controllers and stuff, and you can play Minecraft on your TV. It's basically access to your Steam and all that stuff. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
There's a lot of things.
Oh, and then
like
obviously
that.
the Steam box.
The Steam box will do the same thing. There's a lot of streaming video game systems that are coming out to the point where I don't think Nintendo will have enough gimmick to outplay that factor.
It's possible.
I think the nostalgia will run out. It'll get to that point where it won't be nostalgia anymore because it'll be the 70th time that they've seen Mario driving around this tiny little go-kart. At some point, you got to ask, bro, when are you going to actually buy like a truck? Like, when are you going to get a real car?
Yeah, it's to you, Mario. Well, that's certainly possible, but time will tell. That's it for the itch today.
All right, guys.
We've scratched a lot of itches on this show.
Yep.
Hopefully you'll join us next week for our newscast and maybe a little review I'll slip in there of a game that might be considered indie.
Oh, okay.
Have a great day, guys.
Take it easy.
I'm trying to think.